One more sip of coffee, though, okay? It's been one of those mornings. All right, we're going to start out with 4 to 5 pounds. The leftovers are going to be fabulous. They're actually going to freeze really well, too. So we've just got 4 to 5 pounds of stew meat. If it's on sale, a lot of times I'll just buy a nice big or a couple of chuck roasts and just, chop them up myself, get rid of the fat. And that way you can kind of control the meat, too, what you're getting, and, trim all the fat. So we're going to get that right in here. Again, this is, this beef shrinks down. So I always like to have a little bit more than you think you might need. You never want to not have enough food at a tailgate. That's never a good thing. Okay, then we're going to slice up 2 onions. This has such great flavor. I was inspired to make this because years and years ago, a friend of my mom's made a dish like this, and I've always wanted, when you've had one of those recipes and you're like, that was really good. How did she do that? And it was basically just beef, beer, little seasonings, and onions. So really this stew is all about the beef, and you're going to serve it over mashed potatoes or rice. It's not like your regular beef stew. It basically is all about the beef. It's just yummy. And the broth is just delicious. I am, okay, I don't know, call me lazy or whatever, but if I'm at a tailgate, I don't want to be standing there grilling brats for everybody the whole time. That is not my idea of fun. I want to bring something along that's already done, like we're going to make this killer sandwich coming up a little later, that I can just bring it to the parking lot and warm it right there on the grill and then be partying with everybody. Same goes for this recipe. It's not like you have to be manning the grill and how do you want your burger and all that kind of stuff. No thanks. All right, so I'm just going to, slice up these onions. They're going to cook along with that beef low and slow for 8 to 10 hours. So don't worry about making like perfect slices. Get them in there. This is one of those kind of dump recipes. I love any recipe with the word dump in it. I like it already. If you have any of those recipes, I need to know about them. Don't keep them a secret. Okay, so get it in there. Okay, now we've got 2 packages of just dry beef gravy mix. Just going to rip those open. This is going to add some flavor. Now, this isn't going to be a real thick stew either, but it will thicken it just a tad. Okay, just kind of mix that flour around and toss it with the beef. All right. Here we go. Let's start dumping the rest of this in. We've got 2 cups of beef stock. Lots of flavor in this recipe. We're choosing to use stock. You could use water. That would work fine too, but this is going to be just really flavorful. I've got a tablespoon of brown sugar, just a tad. Let's get the little spatula and get that out of there. Don't worry, this is a real, savory stew, but sometimes you add a little sugar to something and it just brings out more flavor, just like when I'm making a homemade tomato basil soup. Just a little tad of sugar just makes all that difference, or spaghetti sauce, same idea. Now, we're not going to use any salt in this recipe. Instead, we're going to use soy sauce. We've got 2 tablespoons of that. That's going to give it some nice flavor. Now, this is another thing. Besides the sugar, we're going to do a little bit of vinegar, which is another interesting thing. I just read an article, and it was talking about soups. And a lot of chefs will add a little bit of acid at the end of when they're making a big pot of soup. And sometimes you'll taste the soup and go, wow, that is so good. Why doesn't my soup taste quite as good? And maybe they're adding a little bit of lemon juice at the end, or if it's an Italian soup, maybe they're just adding a little bit of drizzle of balsamic vinegar. Same idea for this. We're just going to do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I know it sounds weird, but it really works. Now we've got some black pepper. I've got 4 cloves of garlic. I know, this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? And my way of doing garlic is just right down. No fancy gadgets, although if you have one that works really well for you, that's great. And in fact, I've gotten a couple from you guys, and I appreciate it because, you know, once in a while you really need the finely crushed garlic or finely minced garlic. And those do come in handy, I do have to admit. I just hate cleaning them because all that garlic kind of gets stuck in those holes, and it's just a pain. One more thing to wash. I'm not about doing the dishes. I love to cook, but when it comes to the dishes, is anybody about doing the dishes? No, that's no fun. All right, so get our garlic in there. This does not have to be perfectly minced up. You know, when you're thinking low and slow cooking all day, nothing has to be perfectly minced up. It's all going to taste and work wonderfully together. All right. Again, a little bit more flavor with a dash or two of Worcestershire sauce. If you don't have this in your pantry, I would say get some of this. This stuff rocks. I mean, it's just, you know, from Caesar salads to just flavoring up. You know, you just will taste like your beef stew or something like that, a gravy, and you're like, it's just not quite there. Try a dash of Worcestershire sauce in a lot of your recipes, and it'll then be there. And they came out with a thick Worcestershire sauce. Have you tried that? Lee and Perrins makes it. It's good stuff. It's great on just straight up on burgers. Okay, now we've got the beer, and you could use whatever beer you have. This is a Belgian beef stew, so we're going to use Stella Artois beer, which is, they tell me, a Belgian beer. So, but whatever, it's all going to be good. You could use non-alcoholic beer. It's all going to work. Okay, get the lid on this guy. Bye. See ya. I'm going to bed. And or I'm going to work or doing my thing, running errands. It's one of those on low all day long or all night long. In fact, I made it in my house last night, and the house smelled amazing, I have to say, all night long. This morning I was like, what's cooking? And then I remembered, oh, it's my Belgian beef stew. So anyway, you know, it's 8 to 10 hours, low and slow, until that meat just falls apart, basically, is what we're looking for. Now, if you're in a rush, but they do say never rush a good thing, right? You can do it on high, and it'll probably take anywhere from 4 to 5, 6 hours. We've got a lot of meat in here, and the last thing we want is any of those pieces to be a little tough. So you just want them to fall apart. All right, here we are. So you're having the party at home. You know, got to have some bread for Duncan or sopping up every little last bit. And I like to serve this, like I say, this is one of those soups or stews that would be fine straight up, I should say, but even better served over. In this case, I thought some just plain or buttered white rice. Scoop of that, so if you're going to the game, you know, bring that on the side warm in a Nesco. And now let's start serving up the beef. Mashed potatoes, this would be fabulous over too. So let me show you this beef. See how it just shreds apart, and look at the juice. You just want to take a piece of bread and get every little last bit of that. So that's why you need the rice or the mashed potatoes, so that you'll get some of that juice. Big pieces of beef and the onion in here. I think the Belgians have it right. Who needs all the veggies and things like that? And then you just garnish it. There you go. Doesn't that look fabulous? With some Italian parsley on top. There you go. It's my beer and beef Belgian stew. Recipes on our website. You can also pick it up at any Festival Foods.